In Austin, I stalled, paused, my eyes crawled to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Throw dice and woes of life, love deprived, looking to revive. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise, crystal chandeliers, motives reflected. Often mirrors appear clear, grinning from ear to ear. Craving and raving and grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near, stay there. Remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our worth is. In paradise, we manifest dreams. In paradise, truth is what you can see.
That is so right. Truth is what you can see. And we want to thank everybody for joining this edition of the Unpopular Hour. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark. Today, we're coming to you from the Santa Fe Family Life Center, which we normally try to do on Mondays because I have training sessions in the afternoon with some kids. So it's just easier for me just to be here and get with my 7-year-olds and instead of having to rush and try to do my thing and then get over here. So it's a lot easier, but we've got some good things to talk about today. I'm excited about the whole weekend. I had a good time. This weekend was the MAYB Women's Nationals here in Oklahoma City, which was a good time. Of course, the older girls played here, the 15s, I think, played here, and 16s, and it was some really, really good basketball. And I do like what the MAYB is doing as far as basketball is concerned, giving more players an opportunity to play. Unlike AAU, everybody remembers AAU, and whereas AAU is still big, but it was more of the upper echelon players. And what MAB brought in was the kids who weren't necessarily the top, 100 or whatever, and they brought in the 200 to 500. So they do a good job with that. And I thought we had a very good turnout this weekend here at the Santa Fe Family Life Center, and I enjoyed what's happening there. So, but anyway, today we want to start out with some bad news. One of my guys, a guy who I really had a lot of respect for, Cale Gundy, resigned as the OU wide receivers coach yesterday, and I was pretty sad to hear that, especially with what was surrounding his resignation from the University of Oklahoma. I've known Cale for 20-something years, 20-plus years, 30 years, and I've always had the utmost respect for him. It's just kind of sad because it's not something that Cale said, but it's something he read. It wasn't even his words. And basically, the overview is that he was having a team meeting. One of his players wasn't paying attention, so Cale grabs this particular player's iPad, reads from his iPad, and it says a word in there that Cale has never used in my presence, nor have I ever heard anyone that I know of, white or black, ever heard him utter that word. And but anyway, he did say it, and I do appreciate what he did by resigning, because it would have been a huge story. But now he's jumped up ahead and said, hey, look, this is not what's happening. This is not who I am. And it's definitely not who he is as a player and or as a coach. And you read the tweets from Joe Mixon and him talking about him. And I agree with Joe. It's like, I've been around racists, and I've been around people who acted like they weren't racist and acted like they were your friend, and they weren't. I've experienced that in the last couple of years, and I've lost a lot of people who I had played golf with, who I've drank with, who I've had dinner with their wives. I've gone to parties with them and had no idea how they really felt about me and about my race of people until recently. And I cut those people off. I'm one of these people. I agree with Derek Jeter. My deal is this: you cross me, man, we can be acquaintances, but you being in my circle, us hanging, I'm not doing that. If I can't trust you, you're not a part of my life. But anyway, I agree with Joe. I know the difference between people who are racist and people who allow racism to occur. Those are two totally different things. Now, are you racist or you're a racist? And then, the thing that I've always liked about Oklahoma is that they'll call you the N-word to your face. And I appreciate that. I'd much rather someone be honest with me and tell me how they feel about me than smiling in my face and hugging me and then telling people things differently behind my back. But that being said, it's a sad day for OU football. Kale was a great, great guy. I really, really liked him way better than I do his brother. Respect him way more than I do his brother. Two totally different types of people. But, when you're a family, that's what happens. You have everybody's raised differently. Everybody has their own opinions. But it's sad to see what had happened to Kale and the fact that he read it, that it had nothing to do with him personally. That's something he said personally, but something that he read, which of course he did say it, but it was based off one of his players, what was on his player's iPad. And my problem is, why wasn't the player disciplined, or why wasn't something said with the player? I mean, what happens with that? Does that you just throw it under the rug? And to me, why didn't the player step up and say something? That, hey, coach, that was my bad. It had nothing to do with that. Was, me, I messed up, whatever. Take responsibility. But once again, kids today don't even understand what responsibility is, and they will skirt it as much as possible instead of stepping up, which is what the wide receiver should have said. He should have stepped up and said, hey, listen, this was my bad. I wasn't paying attention. Coach called me out, which is what coaches do. Good coaches, they will call you on the carpet, which we'll talk about Russell Westbrook, and one of his problems is he doesn't want to be called on the carpet. Well, bro, you didn't play defense in Oklahoma City. You didn't play defense in Houston. You didn't play defense for Washington, and you didn't play defense for LA. You got called out on it because all you are about you and about triple doubles. So here's a player who his coach is fired, who his coach resigns because of something that he wrote and just something that was on his iPad, and him not paying attention in the session, which he should have been, and he wasn't. But there are consequences for your actions. Cale Gundy made a comment, said something he shouldn't have said, even though I agree with him. I believe it wholeheartedly. I think he was sitting there reading something and just was so pissed off that he was making an example. As a coach, I've been there. I'm mad. I just want to make a point, and he's made the point. He's sitting there doing it, and all of a sudden, boom, here comes that word out. And he's like, oh, my God, did I really just say that? And everybody's like, Coach, you just said it. But everybody in the room understands. He didn't say it. The player said it. Now, Coach verbalized it. But once again, players being able to say that, I think it's a word that should be taken out of the English language, especially by young black men, that they just allow it to be okay. It's not okay. And it's funny that the kids who do it, or people who do it, or who are the players who didn't call that as being grown up, they didn't understand. They did not go through what people went through, and that's why they don't understand why the older generation is upset about it. Because you don't get to have to deal with it where somebody says that to you, and you can't retaliate. There's nothing you can do, and they don't get it. But anyway, sad to see Coach Cale Gundy go. Cale, you were an outstanding man. I appreciated everything you've done for me, and I said, like I said, I've liked him way better than I did his brother, and I've told people that on numerous occasions. I much prefer him and his attitude towards his players, towards who he is as a person, and hanging out with him. And I don't believe he's a racist whatsoever. I think he was doing his job as calling out his players, which I would have done the same thing. But I think being mad, he just was reading it and wasn't paying attention. He probably should have read it first, glanced over it, then read it out loud. But being pissed off, he just went ahead and just did it, and it cost him. And there are consequences for his actions, and he is correct. This would have been a distraction, and it wasn't fair to Coach Venables in his first year for this to be hanging out over the team's head before the first game even starts, because I can promise you the national news would have been all over it, and they would have been just going on and on and on. So I applaud Cale Gundy, and I hope that the Sooners go ahead and give him his full salary because of he didn't have to do that, but I will say that I have major, major respect for him. So that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the NFL news. Kareem Hunt is looking for an extension, and he requested a trade from the Browns, which, Kareem, you had everything in the world for you when you were with the Chiefs. And what did you do? What did you do? You just totally blew it. You kicked a woman and cost the Chiefs and yourself several Super Bowls, because that's the year they got beat by the Patriots. And I think Patrick Mahomes' MVP year. And I think that the Chiefs had the best team, and I think had you still been there, the Chiefs would have had the running game, and I think the Chiefs still to this day would be rolling had you been the running back, been able to catch the ball and do everything you did. But instead, you chose to go hang out with your homies and do something stupid and kick a woman in a hallway, in a hotel, in front of the camera. So, the Browns, yes, you've been decent and you played well, but I agree with the Browns. The Browns, they have you, and they you may be somebody they're looking at. Yeah, we're not going to extend you, but we're not going to trade you either. We're playing with what we're going to play with. We're not taking any. We've already lost Deshaun Watson for I don't know how many games, and we'll get into that, and we'll talk in detail about that pretty soon. But, we've lost him for I don't know how many games, and we're not going to get rid of anyone. We're not going to trade you. We're not going to extend you. We're going to get past this year. We're going to see where we're at as a team, and then we may extend you later. But for him to want an extension, I can't blame him. I'd want an extension as well. I want to be able to make more money, and he has been really productive alongside his boy Nick Chubb, who is just an absolute monster. Remember, we did the running back tiers last week with Drew and I. So, we had him in there, and he's just been an absolute monster doing what he's doing. Then, of course, you've got Justin Tucker signing a 4-year, $24 million extension. And you notice I did not put the millions on the end of it, because we already know it's professional sports, and we're not dealing in thousands. We're dealing in millions. But 17.5 of that is guaranteed. And, of course, Justin Tucker, the best field goal kicker, extra point person in the NFL, if not in the history of the NFL. So he deserves every bit of the 4-year extension. $24 million doesn't seem like that a lot for a person of his stature. But, who's not going to take the $6 million a year and run with it? I definitely would. And for a kicker, that's quite a bit. And I do believe he is the highest paid kicker in NFL, as well as he should be, at $17.5 million guaranteed. I like that what the Browns did there. I don't necessarily like what they've done other than that, but I do like what they've done when it comes as far as re-signing the Ravens. They haven't signed Lamar. That's a tough one. I get where they're at. Lamar is like, okay, well, Deshaun got 230. You look at Kyler got 230.5. 230.5. I think that's petty and funny. But when you look at the highest paid quarterbacks, and we've done that, we'll go over that again tomorrow, or with this week, we'll go over the highest paid quarterbacks. But one is Aaron Rodgers, and 2 is Deshaun. 3 is Dak, then Mahomes, then Josh Allen. So when I look at that, I just go, man, I don't see how any of them are more getting paid. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, but maybe, but he doesn't do anything in the playoffs. So I don't really know if he deserves to be the highest paid, but Green Bay had no choice. He had him over the barrel for this year, for sure. Now, what about next year? I don't know. I'm sorry, that stupid fly is going over. I wish I had a fly swatter. I'm going to get one. We're going to need to get a fly swatter for upstairs. Miss Cheesy has one downstairs, but we need one upstairs. I'll take care of that bad boy. You come flying through here again. But anyway, and then some more Browns news to talk about. Ex-Brown. Do we need to talk about him? I guess we talked about OU too. So let's talk about Baker Mayfield. And it looks like he's the leader over Sam Darnold right now in the clubhouse. But, of course, they're not. Matt Rule said he's not going to make a decision till after the second preseason game. But we shall see. I think Baker is settling down into the system, and he is better than him. And, Baker has a chip on his shoulder, and if he's going to do well, this is his chance. This is his last year. If he does really well, then he can get up there in the $40 million a year range as a quarterback. But, the problem is with the quarterbacks, it's not whether it's the ceiling. It's where the floor is. And what the Browns did with Deshaun Watson is ridiculous, but they had to have a quarterback, and they overpaid to get him. And it looks like that he may not play, but like I said, we're going to get into that here in a little bit. But Baker definitely has an opportunity to see where he's at, to get into a contract, to make a bunch of money. Now, is he in the upper echelons of the quarterbacks? Will he get more, the 40-something million? That's kind of where the market's at. I don't see him. I don't know how they can give him more than Kyler. I don't see how he can get more than uh, than uh, than Patrick or Josh Allen. Now, when Justin Herbert and them come up, oh yeah, they're going to get paid more than Mahomes. They're going to get paid more than Josh Allen. And when Burrow comes up, we already know they're going to get paid more. But then when Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes continues to go, then they're going to get paid more. Even though Patrick Mahomes did, 10 years, 12 years, $500 million. I think in 2 years they owe him $60 million. They're not going to be able to pay that. And they know that. They're going to have to restructure. So Mahomes is going to get all of his money and then get even more because he's going to be productive. Because what did the Chiefs do? They throw the ball a lot. We know the NFL has protected the quarterback, so you don't have to worry about that. And on top of that, the Chiefs have improved their offensive line so that Mahomes doesn't get hit. And I think he will get rid of the ball faster. They don't have to worry about throwing the long passes, even though that's what they were known for, and that's what he was doing with Tyreek. I think that they will step up. And here's McCole Hardman. I mean, to me, the person other than Baker who has the chance to really, really, really get paid this year is McCole Hardman. Because if you do what you're supposed to do, if you put up the numbers that Tyreek did, if you can, get 100 catches and you can go, 1,400, 1,300 yards, then you could get into that big receiver money. But if you do what you've done before, what you've been doing, where you've been a C plus-ish guy, you're not going to receive it. So I think you and Baker have the chance to really, really step up and make a mark and to really get paid this year. And I hope it works out for you because I do like McCole. I think he's an outstanding young man, and I like what he has to offer them. So that being said, we're going to take a quick break right here. We want to thank our sponsors at Collaborative Logic. If you have any IT needs, those are your people that you want to talk to. They are fantastic in what they do. And, call my boy Russell Williford over there at Collaborative Logic. If you have any IT needs, they are your people, along with Mark Long at SRB. If you have any engineering, surveying, or planning for your company, they are the people that you want to go to and deal with. And then, of course, Jose Fierro at Oak Grove Trucking. He is my man, and if you're one of his dump trucks, bro, you need to get a dump. I just don't like saying dump. I like dump trucks, and you need to fix that really quick. Anyway, at Oak Grove Trucking, if you have any needs for that, then of course my guys, Greg and Max Nafee at Nafco. And then, not last but not least, is our people at YNB, family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. If you want to go pre-qualify online, you can at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com if you want to pre-qualify online for any loans. Those are your people that you want to talk to, and I want to thank all of them for, especially YNB, for them allowing us to go out and do our remotes at minority, women-owned, and black-owned businesses around the city. So I appreciate them giving us the opportunity to be heard, and then from non-minority businesses to be seen and to be promoted through our show. So I appreciate them doing that and them helping this show, The Unpopular Hour, become more of a success. So I appreciate that. Now, back to NFL news. Trevor Lawrence. I really like Trevor. I really like what he did. I felt that, with Urban Meyer last year, he did not have the opportunity to showcase what type of player he is. And I'm really sorry that I felt bad for him because he got the crap beat out of him. He really could have done more. But I think that Trevor is going to have an outstanding year. From what I've seen thus far in highlights, I think he's going to do really, really, really well. And I think Doug Peterson is going to help him excel as a quarterback. But once again, it's going to take him, I think, not this year, but maybe next year, 2 years, his second year, having the same offensive coordinator, the same system, getting more and more better linemen, and which I think, of course, they're going to do for him. I think that that's going to help him survive and do even more. So that being said, let's hope that happens for him, because I really like him. Now, let's talk about Deshaun Watson. We talked about Deshaun and what he had gotten. This is what he had received. Remember, he could play in practice in all their preseason games. No participation in the first 3 games. Week 4, he can practice with the team. He's only going to lose $345,000, and he'll receive $46 million next year. But he cannot have any involvement in law enforcement this coming year. NFL, we don't like this, so we're going to hire an arbitrator. They did, because he wanted to get out of the business of putting down punishment on players. Of course, as soon as they got something that they didn't like, what did he do? Roger Goodell steps in. What are the Players Association going to do? They're going to sue him. They're going to appeal, which means what? Deshaun Watson can now play in those games. And remember, the first 6 games, we talked about this, for the Cleveland Browns are not that tough. And we'll go over their schedule here in a little while, or here in a couple of weeks. We'll go over when we get to their team. But I'm looking at that and I'm going, okay, NFL. So now what you've done is they're going to appeal the decision. You'll appeal the decision. Now, should I give him 6 games? No, I believe he deserved at least 8. That's what I thought he should have gotten. But you, NFL, you're the one that set the precedent. And as your arbitrator, a former federal judge, as she said, this is what you dole out for people who actually had committed violent crimes or violent instances. They got 6 games. That's the maximum you get. So that's what I can give him for 6 games, because you set the precedent basically on what you had done before. So now all of a sudden, you're the outrage. You're going to come out and you're going to try to do something instead of just letting it go, letting him get the 6 games. Then for that future on, then you can dictate stuff. And that's what she said. You can't just all of a sudden go, oh, well, we want to change the rules midstream. Here are the rules. This is what you've done. Here's the precedents before. So we're saying that this is what you're going to have. This is what you're going to be able to do. 6 games. I gave him the maximum that you've allowed or that you've done up to this point. So now you want to retrain. You want to change the game because of public perception. But that's your fault. If you'd have handled all of this domestic violence towards women and violence towards women in the very beginning, then this stuff we wouldn't be worried about this. But that's not what you did. So now you're going to come out and you don't like it, and you're going to try to punish him for the full year. So this man hasn't played in a year and a half, and now you want to turn around and you want to suspend him for a whole nother year. Come on now. Give him 8 games, which everybody would maybe, 9 games if you want to do whatever, suspend him for half the season. But to take a whole year away from this guy, and he has no violence, in court, nothing has been proven to him. Now, was it despicable what he did? Yes. Did he rape anybody? No. Were there any criminal charges? No. But you're going to try to take away the whole year of this man's life? I don't care. That ain't right. Do I agree with what he did? No. Did I think what he did was right? Did I think what he did was nasty? No, I don't, but yes, I do. I think what he did was deplorable, what he did to women. I don't believe you should do the women. You hold women to the highest standards because of my mom and because of my 6 sisters. So I have a different view on that than most people, I guess. But at the same time, do I think he deserves some suspension? Yes. Do I think he deserves another year out of football? No. You're wrong. Do you want to fine him? Yeah, okay, fine him. But are you mad because of what she put down there? She gave him the deal. This is the deal. The Browns try to, give him $1 million a year. And let's face it, this is about the Browns and you being pissed off about the $230 million they gave him guaranteed. This is what it's about. You ain't really outraged at this other stuff. You ain't been outraged before. Now all of a sudden you outraged. Come on now. This is about the $230 million that they guaranteed him that's going to send the salaries through the roof. Now, this guy's been paid $230.5, and then it goes up and up and up. And the owners are pissed. So they're trying to punish the Browns, and they're going to punish Deshaun. Now, I thought 8 games is where he's suspended. I don't think he should be suspended a year. And you know what's not going to happen? The courts aren't going to approve it. You know what's going to happen? You got a guy who's going to hear the hearing and come up. You're wrong for doing this to this man. I think 8 games is more. That's what I thought. Half a season. I think 8 games is appropriate. I don't think the full season, if you want to throw another $1 million fine or whatever, that's cool. But he hasn't been proven nothing, and the judge said that there's no criminal activity. Here you got guys who did violence against women. You only gave them 6 games. 6. So he didn't commit any violence against women. He got 6 games, the maximum, based on what you did, Roger Goodell. Now, because of public opinion, you're going to come back out and try to change it. Now, Deshaun could probably play for however many games. Because you remember what happened with Zeke with his 4 games. I mean, what did he do? He played through week 10 before he had to serve his suspension. So now you're going to do the same thing to Deshaun? I just think it's wrong. I think you need to let it go. You hired a process. Here's the thing, and based on what you did, she gave him the maximum based on what you had done. Now you're going to come and try to flip the script because, public opinion says this. Forget that. You're mad at the Browns. You're mad at the Browns. If you'd have been dealing with public opinion, you would have fixed this a long time ago, and you probably could have got back, but you had no precedent for that. So now all of a sudden you're going to create one. Not a fan of what the NFL is trying to do here. And to Deshaun, I think it's rude. I don't think it's fair for you guys to come out and do what you're trying to do to this man. I don't agree with it. I don't like it one bit. That's enough my soapbox with that. I want to thank my guys over here at Santa Fe Family Life Center for letting me come in. Santa Fe Life Center, of course, we're at 6300 North Santa Fe, 405-840-1817. That's 405-840-1817. Membership starting at $34.99. You can contact us via the phone or on our website at www.sfflc.com. That's www.sfflc.com, which is Santa Fe Family Life Center.com. Of course, our fall league begins September 9th. Deadline is the 2nd. Grades 1st through 8th. $350 is the cost of the deals for 8-game season. Games will be Fridays 6:30 to 8:30 and Saturdays from 9 to 4. You can register online at sfflc.com/basketball, or you can call 405-840-1817. And of course, memberships are available for now. They're almost done with that. I don't even know if we got the memberships up here. We're almost done with the memberships. It's almost over. It's almost over. But that being said, also my guy over here, Drew Henthorn, let's do his Drew Henthorn from HuskerDrewPicks.com. That's www.HuskerDrewPicks.com. And he's been on fire a little bit lately. What did he text me the other day? He was 6-2, I think is what he said on his picks. Let me see, what did he say? Yeah, he was 6-2 the other day on his pick. So he's been on fire. He's got the Yankees, the money line at -108. Padres, money line at 180. The Cubs at 188, -188, I'm sorry. And then, of course, the Reds and the Mets over 9 is what he has for that. So, anyway, like I said, go to my boy at www.HuskerDrewPicks.com. He can go over those things for you and kind of break them down for you. I'm sorry, he's still trying to get moved in to his house and get all of his new job and everything squared away. So he's been a little crazy for him this past week, but we got to get him back into the groove and get him back on the show and get him back helping us out because I miss my boy. He's so crazy. Anyway, he's a maniac. Anyway, in NBA news, the NBA is doing some cool stuff. They're going to put like this plate to try to help with injuries that will do specific force impacts on different foot areas such as heel and toes that are going to help the players stay healthy so they can kind of be more preemptive on injuries this year, which I think is going to make a huge difference for the NBA. Your gait analysis to seeing how you run. If something happens as far as the way you're moving, if you're moving differently, it'll be able to help you be able to figure that out. I love what they're doing for ankle, and especially with ankle angles and roll injuries. Man, there's so much stuff can happen. Your shoes are being worn wrong, or your different moves, different things that you're taking in your steps that will that will help as far as keeping you from being injured. Your feet orientation as far as your position and angle, both on the ground and doing your jumps. Cut angle, there's tons of cutting and running, especially if you're quick in guards. You do way more cutting than you do if you're a big man. Your step count as far as your walk, run, how fast your steps are being taken, and the metrics of that. I like what the NBA is doing here, being able to use technology to help. Because I know, like at Oklahoma State, they can do that, put the deals in your shoes, and when you're shooting the basketball, they know how many shots that you make at this position or that position, which helps you as far as getting you more prepared for the games. Like, okay, if I know that, like I know where my best shots are. My best shots come from the top of the key and the right-hand side of the basket. Shooting from the left-hand wing is really bad because I tend to pop my elbow out and I shoot hit the front of the rim a lot. Whereas if you're on the right-hand side of free throw or in the middle, then if you pop your elbow out, you have a better chance of it going in from that angle. So that's kind of the way that I look at that. And I love what the NBA is doing right now here with that. Kudos to the NBA. Unlike the NFL, they're doing tons of stuff to make sure that their players are healthy and happy. Oh, and then here's another subject I'm tired of talking about, LeBron. Tired of talking about him. Bro. We talk about the younger generation not taking responsibility. I don't necessarily know if LeBron's a younger generation, but he is. Bro, here's the team that you wanted. Here's the team that you asked for. The Lakers went out on a limb. They gave up picks. They did whatever to get what you wanted. And now that you don't like it, you want out. The team that the Lakers had before and what they were adding, you would have been far better and more served for the team that they had before. But instead, you wanted this group of guys who were old and couldn't play. Now that you figured that out, now you want the Lakers to give up their future, which you're not even going to be here in 27 and 28. And I disagree with all these guys talking about, well, that's the future. Well, yeah, but why am I going to leverage my future? And we could be terrible and help somebody else out. That those could be potential lottery picks because we are bad. Why would I give that up for this dude? And LeBron, my problem with you is this is the team you asked for. You've basically destroyed the Lakers just like you did the Cleveland Cavaliers when you left, just like you did Miami when you left, just like you did Cleveland when you left again. You come in, you get a quick title, you leave, you destroy the teams. That's what you are. So how are you the greatest, dude? That just wears me out. I'm so over that. And as far as I'm a Laker fan, get out. Get the hell out. We don't want you. I didn't want you in the first damn place. Yeah, I'm glad you brought us the title. Cool, but get out. If you don't want to be here, you don't want to be in LA, get out. Bye. Tired of you, man. I'm so tired of dealing with him. I'm really over him. I really, truly am. And I'm done. Enough about LeBron and the Lakers. I'm just so frustrated that he wanted Russell Westbrook. I just want him gone. I want both of them gone so I can start wearing my Laker colors and take my stuff out of the closet, out of the box, so I can start wearing my Laker stuff again because it just wears me out that he wanted him and I can't wear my stuff anymore. Just wears me out. And then Kyrie, and we all know the holdup. The Nets want the Lakers picks. The Lakers aren't willing to give them up. I don't blame them. And LeBron, you don't want to leave. If you want to leave, fine. We're not giving up any more of our future for you for 2 more years. We're not doing it. We already know we can't get people here. We're over the salary cap. We're screwed for another year anyway. Okay, good. You're gone. You go. You out here next year. Russell's out here next year. We have, $70 million, $80-something million in salary cap space. We still have AD. We get a couple guys in here. Fine. Take your ass on. I'm so tired of him. Him and Kyrie, all that mess. KD, y'all are the reasons why people don't want to watch the league anymore because you're bouncing from team to team. Stay where you're at. Now, I understand why you left Oklahoma City. I get that. But you left Golden State instead of stepping up and confronting Draymond. You got pissed off. You got your feelings hurt because you're not going to be the man. Steph Curry's the man. That was his team. And you could have been a man in Oklahoma City, but you let Russell Westbrook take it over, which cost Oklahoma City. We're never going to be the same because management picked Russell over you. which was idiotic. I agree. I don't blame you for leaving here. I completely understand why you left. I get it. But for you to leave Golden State now, you want to leave the Nets? Bro, you made your bed. The Nets have paid you $109 million the last 2 years. You were hurt. You didn't play. And they paid you. So why don't you stay with the Nets? Or they paid you, $109 million over those 2 years that you didn't play. It's frustrated. I'm getting frustrated at the state of basketball and what these guys are doing to the league because they feel like they can do whatever. And I'm glad that the fans are getting tired of it. I'm glad that this has run its course because LeBron is the one who started this player movement. I do love the NBA because the players are empowered. I do love that, but I'm just pissed off about the way that everything is being done. I don't like it. I really, really, truly don't like it. Anyway, that being said, I want to thank everybody for watching this edition of the Unpopular Hour. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark. Today, as I said, we're coming to you from Santa Fe Family Life Center. It's a sports and fitness complex. You guys already know what it is, a lot of you. It's at 6300 North Santa Fe, 405-840-1817. That's 405-840-1817. If you want to call for memberships, are available for $34.99 starting at there. And we're at www.sfflc.com. Remember, fall ball starts in September 9th. Deadline is September 7th, September 2nd, which is only, 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away? It's right here, ready to go again. So we have, I think, 2 more weeks of basketball left here. I think this is our last week of league here, and we have 1 more week of tournament play. And then after that, we're off a couple of weeks, and we're going to get the floors redone the last week of this month, which I'll be glad to see because the floors will be beautiful and be refreshed and look fantastic. So I'm excited to see that. You can contact our people over here at 840-1817 for any more information, or you can contact Gary Vick at 405-470-5072. And then also, thank you once again, YNB, family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. And I want to thank them for their sponsorship of us going out to visit minority, women-owned, and black-owned businesses around the Oklahoma City metro area. And then if you want to pre-qualify online, you can at www.ynbok. That fly is just, I finally got that sucker. At www.ynbok.com if you want any information about getting loans pre-qualified. So that being said, I want to thank everybody. Everybody have a fantastic day out there and try to stay cool if you can. Try to stay cool if you can. I like that.